People only share their success stories on social media, right? Well, let me tell you about probably my biggest failure as a graphic designer with the most high-profile client I've ever worked with. And this story is fresh, so be gentle. So at the tail end of last year, I was contacted by Dustin Dre of Dre's Nightclub. Ever heard of them? You can with me if you wanted to. Yeah. That one. It's huge. It's a 30-year-old Las Vegas Strip nightclub brand that was started by a guy called Victor Dre, Dustin's dad. Victor Dre is a former film producer who most famously made the movie Weekend at Bernie's. So we're dealing with Hollywood royalty here, and if I get this one right, this logo is going to be blown up 30 foot tall on the side of a nightclub on the Las Vegas Strip. No pressure there. Dustin contacted me because Dre's is expanding, and they needed a version of the logo to use in this new venue. But Dustin thought this would be the perfect opportunity to see if he could harmonize the brand and maybe try something new. Over the years, Dre's has opened up a suite of venues, including a nightclub, beach club, after hours club, and with this new supper club, the team really needed a brand guidelines document to tighten this whole thing up. Now, the Dre's D is one of the most recognized emblems in the industry, but the lockup isn't the most versatile. When it's scaled down, the type becomes hard to read, and the shape doesn't always pair well with other type formats. So Dustin wanted to see what it might look like if I tried something new, but in keeping with the old style. So this is an experimental only logo refresh project, and if he and his team like what I come up with, he's going to show this to Victor, who will ultimately sign this one off. And by the way, for an experiment, we've got a good budget here, so I have leeway for a couple of cracks at this. The first option I came up with was basically an ode to Victor Dre and his sunglasses. This style is so synonymous with him that the sunglasses worn by Terry Kaiser in Weekend at Bernie's actually belong to him. So with this in mind, I worked in a pair of shades into the tail of this new D shape. I modernized the script font and brought the corresponding characters up in size and weight to make them more legible at a smaller scale. The D had the same curve, and the style of the R and the A was similar enough that it should hopefully be recognizable as Dre's. I also created a way for the venue type to be worked into the lockup, so we'd have a pretty harmonized design to use across all the locations. Unfortunately, I was so close to this design that when I showed it to the team, they didn't see sunglasses, they saw a rattlesnake tail in the D. And they're right, I just completely missed it. Also, the Dre's D is probably the most recognizable part of the original logo, and I'd completely changed it. So taking on this feedback, in a second option, I brought the D back in line with the original, but kept the thicker weight. Now, in my mind, if we were going to change this design, it'd be so nice to incorporate a little bit of story. So I worked with one of the elements synonymous with Dre's and their After Hours brand, this saucy little lips element, and worked this into the style of that curve in the D. This way there will be a bonus option to show to Victor, one is the safer option and one spicy version. It was at this point that Victor was shown the designs for the first time. Now, I wasn't part of this process, so I didn't have the opportunity to sell these designs in myself, but even if I had, I'm not sure that it would have changed anything, because ultimately he was too attached to the original logo and just wasn't looking to change it. When I got the news from Dustin, I took this pretty hard. Dustin had taken a chance on me, and I kind of felt like I'd let his team down, but he assured me that this wasn't the case, and this was always an experiment. So with the remaining budget, I worked with them to try and create a more versatile version of the original lockup, basically just sizing up those extra characters. I also tried to give them a little stylized lips element that was curved just like the shape of the D, that they could maybe use with a new supper club venue. Fortunately, even then, everyone that was shown this version simply said, it's just not Dre's. And I guess this just goes to show that sometimes a brand is just too strong to be changed. Versatile or not, this logo just has too much history. But what a cool client, and one that was willing to spend a significant amount of money on an experiment that ultimately gave them the peace of mind that the logo they've got is the one that's right for them. Plus, that makes me feel a whole lot better.